This is my introduction slide to the African art final exam presentation. I hope you are all having a nice day. My name is Yaksh, and let's start. So, the artist which I'll be working on, like which I researched, was Olowe of Say. He was born in 1870 and he died 1938. He was a sculptor from Nigeria and worked mainly in Say. He served in the royal court, where he got his training, no one knows. Once he became a master artist, he started working for kings and elites, and created doors, thrones, bowls, and posts, and was known for high relief and movement. The first artwork that I will be discussing in this presentation is his royal bowl, which is an important part of Yoruba culture and was made around 1930s. Like the rest of the piece of work, it's made from wood with paint. The intention behind creation of this bowl was to carry gifts from one king to another during important ceremonial occasions like festivals. Not everyone got the chance to carry it. Most commonly, a young woman from the palace would carry it in public on her head. This indicated that the bowl was both useful and meant for display. Without even diving deep, we can already see that the object exists in a royal ceremonial and public context. It wasn't just a simple house container but was part of political affairs of courtly exchange and royal presentation. Rather than being simple, minimalistic, or even prehistoric, work which many attribute to African art, the bowl is very complex. The bowl has a lid, carved figures, bowl sections, painted surfaces, and detailed patterns. The lid is described as being topped by four women standing in circle, each of woman carrying an infant and supporting a staff in the center. Alongside this, the bowl itself is also being supported, but this time by three women on one side and three men on the other. The details carving include birds, a decapitated head motif, a free rolling human head inside the lower space, incised patterns, and red, white, dark blue, indigo color. These details reflect uh, his technical skills and visual imagination. The object is layered with figures, symbols, pattern, color, and movement. The book Arts of Being Yoruba sheds some light on the cultural context. It describes Ifa divination as a serious system of science, interpretations, stories, and cultural knowledge. The diviner identifies one of the 256 ODU of science, which guides the stories, advice, ritual instructions, and interpretation. From this, we can understand that even that when the artist places a diviner staff on his bowl, it's not just random decoration piece, but refers to Yoruba intellectual and spiritual systems. The artwork challenges two misconceptions explored in the course. The first misconception is that African art is primitive or is associated with barbarism. The second misconception is that African art can only be functional or ritualistic, but not aesthetic or artistic. The Royal Bowl breaks both of these misconceptions clearly because, first, we can see that it's not a primitive, since its imagery connects to themes full of complexity like divination, religious authority, royal exchange, spiritual power of gender. That to women uh, who weren't given same respect anywhere else, and protection. Even though it did carry gifts, and was ceremonial, we can't ignore the carvings, paint pattern, symbol, and public display that also made it a celebration of aesthetics and art. This bowl makes it clear that African art can be functional and ceremonial while also being aesthetically pleasing, requiring clear use of intellect and creativity. The second artwork is uh, Issei Palais door made around 1920s as part of Yoruba heritage in Nigeria. It's made of wood with the possibility of pigments being used. The door was made for a Yoruba palace setting for which the artist carved several other doors for royal palaces. This is an important detail to consider because wasn't just a random object but belonged to the world of Yoruba court life, royal architecture, and elite patronage. The door is a glimpse into Yoruba palace life. The right panel shows court activities such as royal orchestra, whereas the left panel shows ritual activities. The door is not just an entrance but a carved visual record of palace performance, ritual, hierarchy, entertainment, and social order. The artist shows that art is not limited to canvas or sculpture, but can also be embedded into the very fabric of royal architecture. The palace door shows the artist's individual artistic style, whose details are not just generic but also have high relief, texture backgrounds, incised linear designs, rows of figures that create movement, different hairstyles that individualize women, and painted wood surfaces. This is what made the artist's style recognizable and distinct from his peers. The figures are carved in such a way that they feel active, almost as if trying to step forward, move, and occupy the surface with full of energy. In the context of this artwork, Walker's article, Olowe of Say Anonymous has a name, is very important. Here, Walker explains that because of many racial and cultural biases, many ethnographers and collectors didn't even ask who made African artworks, due to which Olowe's name remained unknown in Europe for many years, even though he was already popular in his community and beyond. His patrons included Yoruba rulers and wealthy individuals, and the number of variety of his commissions show that his talent was appreciated by his own people. The point is also supported by La Gama in Beyond Master Hands, where she explained that Yoruba sculpture has a strong history of attribution to specific workshops and individual hands. She clearly stated in her article that African objects in museums should not be treated with vague, generic labels because of the fact that they were made by individual artists with training, technique, and unique recognizable styles. The artwork challenges two misconceptions explored in the course. The first misconception was that African objects are merely ethnographic artifacts with no individual artistic expression. And the second misconception was that African art is valued mainly for being exotic, unusual, and novel. The palace door breaks both of these misconceptions because it is not just an ethnographic artifact, but the artist behind it is also recognized and respected in his community because of his personal style. Hi- Uh, it is also not valued only because it looks exotic to Western viewers, because it is true that value lies in the it's because its true value lies in the context which combined royal ritual and Oluwe's own artistic skill. The door clearly exemplifies that African art should be understood as intentional individual artistic expression, not just as cultural evidence to be later collected and neglected of its true status by the museums. The third artwork of Olowe which he made was for an African prince, and is also known as royal throne or chief's throne. It once again is an important piece for Yoruba culture in Nigeria and was made in earlier 20th century from wood and pigments. The throne is connected to Yoruba royalty and elite authority, and its original owner was Prince Ilori Samuel Egeson of Oraye ruling house in Se Ikiti. Because of the prince status, it gave him the right to his own to own the throne, which is why the object is tied directly to royal identity and political authority. The throne has a circular seat, high back armrest, and many carved figures around the base and sides. The decoration shows Oluwa's imagination and uh, torrent of reworking surfaces through composition and design. The back side is more private and refers to the inner workings of the court, while the front and sides emphasize public royal prestige. We can connect this to Lagama point that Yoruba artists worked within tradition but also created signature styles through innovation. Adiko also helps explains that Yoruba culture is flexible and shaped through combinations from many other sources. This means that European influence doesn't make the throne less Yoruba. The artwork directly challenges the final two conceptions which we would be exploring. The first misconception is that African art must be authentic, meaning it can't be touched by outside influence. And the second misconception is that Western museums and collectors have the authority to decide what counts as real art. The throne breaks the final misconception because it shows that even with outside influence, it does not automatically destroy authenticity. Of course, Olowe uses a European style chair form, but the symbol he uses to transform it is rooted in Yoruba royal culture. The result is not less African or less Yoruba. The throne also breaks the idea that Western museums and collectors decide what counts as real art, because we can see that its value existed even before it entered a museum. It had its meaning through Prince Ilori, Yoruba royal authority, court politics, women's leadership lore, and Oluwa's relationship with his patron. Even if Western museums may display it later, they didn't create its value. The throne value comes from Oluwe's artistic imagination and Yoruba culture. The two districts. So now that we have gone through all the artworks, the two discussion questions for the audience, which I would like them to reflect upon, was if Oluwe were a Gen Z artist today, would his work be seen differently by museum, social media, and the art world? And the second question is if you were Oluwe, how would you feel knowing your artwork was not always seen for what it truly is? And so these are my scholarly sources. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and have a awesome day ahead.